Ilara had once been a princess, beautiful, loved, and admired by all. But now, the truth of her life was much darker. A curse had twisted her face and her future, changing her into someone she no longer recognized. Her once radiant, fair skin had turned ashen, her golden hair now a tangled mess of dull brown strands. Her eyes, once sparkling with joy, were now shadowed, hollow. It was as if the very essence of her beauty had been stolen, leaving behind a creature no one could bear to look at. Her stepmother. Lady Seraphine had always been a woman of striking beauty. With her flowing silver hair, piercing blue eyes, and flawless skin, she commanded attention wherever she went. Ilara had grown up under her rule, but it was never a loving rule. Lady Seraphine had always viewed Ilara as a rival for the admiration of others, particularly the royal court. And when Ilara reached the age of 16, the age when her beauty would bloom into full maturity, her stepmother couldn't bear it any longer, in a fit of jealousy. Lady Seraphine had sought the help of dark magic. She used an ancient relic, an alien artifact that had been in her family for centuries, to curse Ilara. This relic, forged by an alien race, long forgotten, held the power to warp the natural world. With a single incantation, Ilara's beauty was stripped from her, placed by the hideous form that trapped her inside her own body. No one knew the true cause of her transformation, of course. Lady Seraphine spread the word that Ilara had been cursed by some divine power for her arrogance. She told everyone that Ilara had done something terrible to deserve such a punishment. And so, people who had once adored Ilara now avoided her, fearing the monster her stepmother had painted her to be. For years, Ilara had lived alone in the highest tower of the family's estate. It was the only place where she felt safe, the only place where she could hide from the world. Her stepmother had made sure to keep her out of sight, saying that it would be too shameful for Ilara to be seen in public. People no longer spoke of her as if she had vanished from existence. But Ilara was not one to give in easily. Beneath the layers of sorrow and isolation, her mind remained sharp. She spent her days studying the world beyond her tower. She read books on history, philosophy, science, and even alien civilizations. She taught herself languages of faraway planets, learning how to communicate with species from across the galaxy. Though her stepmother had condemned her to a life of silence, Ilara's spirit remained unbroken. She had not just been beautiful, she had been intelligent and kind, too. She knew that beauty was only skin deep, and now, with her physical appearance gone, she relied on the things that truly made her who she was, her mind and her heart. Ilara often dreamt of one day escaping the confines of her tower, of proving to the world that beauty was not the only thing that mattered. Her only contact with the outside world came from the occasional messengers sent by her stepmother. These messengers brought her supplies and letters, always written with the same tone of superiority. They treated her as if she were nothing more than an object, an unwanted burden hidden away like a dirty secret. Ilara could barely stand to read them, for they were filled with mockery and pity, as if she had no hope left. But Ilara did not let their cruel words break her. She had a plan, even if it was a secret plan. Deep inside her, she still believed that there was a chance for her to reclaim her life, to find a way to restore her true form and reclaim her place in the world. It wasn't just about beauty, it was about justice. It was about proving that her worth was not tied to her appearance, and that one day her stepmother's wickedness would be exposed. One afternoon, as Ilara sat in her room, reading a book on ancient civilizations, she noticed something strange. The atmosphere had changed. There was a hum in the air, a low vibration that made the walls of her tower seem to tremble. At first she thought it was just her imagination, but as the sensation grew stronger, she felt a strange pull in her chest. Something was happening, something important. Ilara stood up, her curiosity getting the better of her. She walked to the large curved window that overlooked the distant horizon. The sky was a deep violet, the sun setting behind the distant mountains. But there, in the distance, she saw a strange object moving toward her. At first she thought it was a shooting star, but the more she looked, the more she realized it was not natural. The object was a massive ship, its hull sleek and metallic, glinting with a strange, almost otherworldly light. It moved silently, cutting through the sky like a shadow. Alara's heart raced as she watched it approach, unsure of what it was or what it meant. The ship wasn't of human design. She had read enough about alien civilizations to know that much. This was something entirely different. As the ship drew closer, Alara felt a sudden surge of anxiety. Her stepmother had always warned her to stay hidden, to never draw attention to herself. But this ship, it was coming closer, and it was not going to simply pass by, with a mix of fear and curiosity. Alara turned away from the window and paced the room, her mind racing. Was it a scout ship? Was someone coming to find her? Could this be the chance she had been waiting for? Or was this just another strange and terrifying event she had no control over? She didn't have much time to think. The ship was nearing the estate, and soon it would be close enough for her to see with her own eyes. Alara had to make a decision. Should she stay hidden, as her stepmother had always insisted? Or should she face whatever was coming and see what the future held for her? The hum in the air grew louder, and the ground beneath her feet vibrated with the power of the ship's engines. Alara stood frozen, torn between fear and hope. She had no idea who or what was aboard that ship, but something inside her told her that this moment was different. This was not just another day in her lonely tower. This was the beginning of something new, and then, as if to answer her silent question, the ship stopped. It hovered above the estate, casting an enormous shadow over the land below. The air was thick with tension, the quiet broken only by the distant rustle of wind through the trees. Alara's breath caught in her throat. Her heart pounded in her chest. The door to her room creaked open. A tall figure stood in the doorway, silhouetted by the strange light coming from the ship. The figure was dressed in armor that gleamed like silver, with intricate designs that seemed to shimmer in the low light. Alara could barely see the person's face, but she could tell it was a man, tall and imposing. For a moment they simply stood there, locked in a silent stare. Alara had no idea who this person was or what he wanted. But one thing was certain, her life was about to change. The man stepped forward, his voice deep and calm. "I have come for you, Alara," he said. "I am King Kellanor of the Azarath, and I have an offer for you." Alara stood frozen as the tall figure in the doorway spoke. His voice was calm, yet carried a weight that made her heart race with uncertainty. She could feel the air around her crackling with a strange energy, as if the very atmosphere was holding its breath. Who was this man? And why had he come? "I am King Kellanor of the Azarath," the man said again, his words slow and deliberate. "And I have come for you, Alara." She could barely breathe. The name sounded like something from a faraway story, one of those ancient tales her mother used to tell her before she passed. A Zarathan alien race with a fearsome reputation. The Azarath were known throughout the galaxy for their power, their knowledge, and their ability to bend reality with their advanced technology. To have one of their kings standing in front of her was unthinkable. Alara took a step back, trying to steady herself. "I don't understand," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. "What do you want with me?" Kellanor stepped into the room, his movements fluid, almost graceful. His armor glimmered in the dim light, a strange combination of silver and blue, with symbols etched into the surface that she couldn't decipher. He looked at her with an intensity that made her feel exposed, like he was seeing into her very soul. "I have an offer," he said, his eyes narrowing slightly. "An offer that could change your life, Alara, and the fate of your people." Alara's mind raced. Was he speaking of her curse? Was he going to help her somehow? Or was this another cruel twist in her life? She had been used, manipulated, and abandoned so many times before. How could she trust this mysterious alien king? "I don't want your pity," she said, her voice stronger now, though it still trembled slightly. "I'm not interested in whatever offer you're making. I've lived with this curse long enough to know that nothing will change." Kellanor regarded her quietly, his expression unreadable. "It is not pity that I offer, Alara. It is a chance. A chance to undo the curse, to restore what was stolen from you." Her heart skipped a beat. His words echoed in her mind. Restore what was stolen. Could it be true? Could this alien king truly have the power to undo the curse that had haunted her for years? For a moment, Alara felt a flicker of hope, something she hadn't felt in a long time. But then she remembered her stepmother, the woman who had cursed her out of jealousy, the one who had kept her hidden away in this tower for years. Elyras's throat tightened at the thought. She could not forget the pain, the isolation, the cruelty. "Why would you help me?" she asked, suspicion creeping into her voice. "What do you want in return?" Kellinor's lips curved into a faint smile, but it was cold, calculating. "I do not offer help without reason, Alara. The Azarath are not a race of charity. We seek something in return for every favor. But do not mistake my offer for something sinister. I have a proposal that could benefit you as much as it benefits me." Lara narrowed her eyes, refusing to let her guard down. "And what exactly do you want from me?" The king stepped closer, his presence overwhelming. "Your mind, your skills. You are a unique human, Alara. The curse that has befallen you has not only robbed you of your beauty, but it has made you something different. Your pain, your anger, it has changed you. And that change has given you abilities that no one else on this planet possesses." Alara swallowed hard. "Abilities? What are you talking about? You have been trained in secret, have you not?" Kellinor continued, his voice steady. "Your mind is sharp. Your understanding of the universe and its many peoples is vast. You have learned languages, history, technology, things that most humans can barely begin to grasp. These are the very qualities that the Azarath need." Lara felt a chill run down her spine. How did he know all of this? She hadn't told anyone about her studies, her secret passion for learning about alien cultures and technologies. She'd kept it all hidden, thinking no one would ever care. Yet here stood the alien king, knowing more about her than she cared to admit. "Why would the Azarath need me?" she asked, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and curiosity. "What could someone like me possibly offer you?" Kellinor's eyes softened slightly, but there was still an edge to his gaze. "I do not need you for your beauty, Alara. I need you for your mind. Your people humans are unique in the galaxy. You possess a resilience that no other species has. Your capacity to adapt, to innovate, to unite in the face of adversity, that is something the Azarath cannot ignore." Alara was taken aback. "You think my people are special?" "More than you realize," Kellinor replied, his tone growing serious. "The galaxy is at war, Alara, a war between factions that have been fighting for centuries. The Azarath are in the middle of this conflict, but we are not the only ones with power. There are other forces at play, and they seek to destroy everything we have built. That is why we need you." Lara felt a cold shiver pass through her. War, conflict, destruction. These were the things she had only read about in books. But now they were becoming all too real. The stakes were higher than she had ever imagined. "Still don't understand," she said slowly. "What do you want me to do?" Kellinor's eyes gleamed with determination. "You will help me broker a peace between the warring factions. You will act as an ambassador, a liaison. Your ability to understand different cultures, to unite people, despite their differences, that is what we need. I cannot do this alone, Alara, but together we can bring peace to the galaxy." Alara stood still, her mind racing. She had spent so many years hiding in the shadows, afraid of what the world would think of her. But now she was being offered a chance, an incredible, life-changing opportunity. The thought of stepping out into the galaxy, of leaving her tower behind, filled her with both excitement and fear. "But why me?" she asked again, the doubt still lingering in her voice. "Why would you trust a human, someone like me, to help you? I am cursed. I am nothing but a monster." Kellinor's gaze softened for the first time. "You are not a monster, Alara. You are a woman of great strength. Your curse does not define you. It is a weapon, a shield that you can use to your advantage. The world may see you as something grotesque, but I see you for what you truly are." Ilara's heart thudded in her chest. She had spent so many years thinking of herself as broken, as unworthy of anything. But here, in this moment, with this powerful alien king standing before her, she felt something stir deep inside her, a sense of possibility. "I will help you," she said at last, her voice steady. "But first, you must help me. I want you to lift the curse. I want to be free of this ugliness. Kellanor nodded slowly. I can lift the curse, Alara, but I must warn you, the process will not be easy. It will require a great deal of energy, more than you can imagine. You will have to sacrifice something to regain your true form. Lara felt a knot form in her stomach. Sacrifice. The word echoed in her mind, a reminder that nothing in life came without a cost. I am ready, she said, her voice firm. I will do whatever it takes. Eleanor smiled, though there was something unreadable in his expression. Very well, Alara, the journey ahead will not be simple. But together, we will change the fate of the galaxy. And perhaps, your fate as well. The moment Alara stepped aboard the Azarath ship, she felt both awe and terror. The ship was unlike anything she had ever imagined. Its smooth, flowing surface shimmered with an eerie light, as if it was alive. It was vast and yet intimately quiet inside, with corridors that seemed to pulse with a strange energy. The walls seemed to hum, as if they were aware of her presence, watching her every move, as she followed King Kellanor down the long hallways. She tried to ignore the way her heart raced. The ship was beautiful in a terrifying way. It was as if it was made from the very fabric of the universe itself. Yet, despite the ship's beauty, Alara couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. This was not just a vessel for peace. There was more to this mission, and she could sense it. They reached a large chamber at the heart of the ship. Inside, the room was vast and filled with alien technology devices that glowed with blue and green lights, and consoles that displayed information Alara couldn't begin to understand. The walls were adorned with strange symbols, written in a language that was both beautiful and alien. In the center of the room, there was a raised platform, and standing beside it were several Azarath soldiers, their faces impassive behind their silver helmets. Kellanor turned to face her, his expression serious. This is where the work begins, he said. But before we move forward, we need to discuss something important. Alara felt a knot form in her stomach. She had a sinking feeling that this was where the truth would finally come to light. I have given you the opportunity to restore your beauty, Kellanor continued. But what you may not fully understand is that the curse that afflicts you is tied to a far greater force than simply your stepmother's jealousy. The Azarath's enemies are not just other civilizations. We are facing a cosmic entity, a being of unimaginable power. The artifact your stepmother sought to control. It was not just a tool of dark magic. It was a key to awakening this ancient entity. Alara stared at him in disbelief. An ancient entity? What are you talking about? Kellanor's gaze grew intense. This being was sealed away long ago by the first Azarath. It has remained dormant, waiting for the right moment to awaken. The artifact was meant to keep it imprisoned, but your stepmother's actions have brought it back into the galaxy's fold. The curse that has taken hold of you is a side effect of this awakening. It is a mark left by this entity's power, a signal to those of us who are sensitive to its presence. Alara's head spun. She had thought her stepmother's curse was simply an act of jealousy, a cruel twist of fate. But now she realized that there was far more at stake than she had ever imagined. This wasn't just about her. The fate of the entire galaxy could hang in the balance. But why me? She asked, struggling to comprehend. Why did the curse fall on me? Kellanor's eyes softened. You were chosen, Alara. Your bloodline is tied to the ancient Azarath. Your ancestors were once protectors of the galaxy, and it was their knowledge that the entity sought to destroy. The curse that befell you is not only a mark of this entity's power, it is also a sign that you are the key to its undoing. Alara felt her legs weaken beneath her. You mean to say that I'm the one who can stop this? Being from destroying everything? Kellanor nodded solemnly. Yes, but you must first accept the truth of your power. The artifact that your stepmother stole is part of you, Alara. It is embedded within your very being. When we remove the curse, you will also unlock your true potential. Only then will you be able to stop the entity's awakening. Lara's mind raced. She had never asked for this burden. She had never wanted to be the hero, the one to save the galaxy. All she wanted was to be free of the curse, to live her life without fear of judgment. But now, it seemed that the universe had other plans for her. "I don't know if I'm strong enough," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Kellanor stepped closer, his presence overwhelming. "You are stronger than you realize, Ilara. Your humanity, your resilience, it is what makes you unique. The Azarath cannot defeat this entity alone. We need you not only for your mind, but for your heart. Your ability to inspire, to bring people together, this is the key to our victory." Ilara took a deep breath, her mind whirling. The weight of her decision pressed down on her chest. She could feel the eyes of the soldiers around her, the weight of their expectations. She could feel the future of the galaxy resting in her hands. "I'll do it," she said finally, her voice steady. "I'll help you. I'll stop this entity." Eleanor's gaze softened, and for a moment, Ilara saw something human in his eyes. "You are not alone in this, Ilara. The Azarath will stand by you. Together, we will face this challenge." The final battle, the days that followed, were filled with intense training and preparation. Ilara learned the ancient techniques of the Azarath, the ones that allowed them to harness the power of the galaxy's forces. She trained in combat, diplomacy, and strategy. But more than that, she learned to harness the power within herself, the power of the curse, the power of the artifact, and the strength of her will. She had no choice but to embrace her fate. She had spent so many years hiding, so many years thinking of herself as nothing more than a monster. But now she saw the truth. She was far more than that. She was a force to be reckoned with. When the day came to confront the cosmic entity, Ilara stood with Kellanor and the Azarath army, ready to face the greatest challenge of her life. They had tracked the entity to a distant planet, a dark world shrouded in shadows. The entity's power was overwhelming, its presence filling the air with an oppressive weight. The battle was fierce. The entity, a swirling mass of darkness and energy, lashed out at the Azarath with unimaginable force. But Ilara was ready. She stepped forward, the artifact within her calling to her, filling her with strength and purpose. She reached out, feeling the power of the galaxy flowing through her. "Now," Kellanor shouted. Ela focused all her energy, using the power of the curse, the artifact, and her own will to push back against the entity's force. The ground trembled beneath her, the air crackling with energy. It was as if the entire universe was holding its breath, waiting for her to succeed or fail. With one final push, Ilara released the full power within her. A wave of light and energy surged outward, engulfing the entity. The darkness screamed, its form shattering into a million pieces. Vanishing into the void of space, the battle was over. The Aftermathalus stood on the battlefield, her body trembling with exhaustion. The world around her was silent, the air still. The Azarath soldiers stood in awe, their eyes wide with admiration. They had witnessed a miracle. Kellanor approached her, his expression one of respect. "You did it, Ilara. You saved the galaxy." Ilara looked at him, her eyes filled with a mixture of relief and wonder. "I didn't do it alone," she said softly. "I had help, and I had to believe in myself." Loner nodded. "You are more than you know. The galaxy will remember your name, Ilara, and so will I." As Ilara looked around at the peaceful world they had saved, she felt a sense of pride wash over her. The curse had been lifted, but more importantly, she had found something far more valuable: her true self. For the first time in years, she felt free, and she knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the strength of humanity in her heart.